Mr. Masango, thanks indeed for coming in.
It's a pleasure, and thank you, and as well evening to your viewers at home as well.
So you have a hefty bunch of investors involved in this one. Did they need much convincing to get involved, or are they also aligned to what government intends to be doing here?
We are so excited with this particular project because it not only started recently. We started with the mayor when he made the announcement in 2016 when we came in as the new administration on this government. We started a genuine process of engaging with developers, in particular around the inner city. We had other engagements with them through what we call the Inner City Partnership Forum, where we've been engaging with them, showing them our commitment, because that's what they were looking for, a commitment, a political will to understand what they need. And as government, we understood that the budget we have is limited, and we can't do everything that we need to do, in particular where we don't have the kind of expertise to play in that space. So your developers play in those particular space of development. So when we came and sold this idea to say that after we discovered so many bad buildings, derelict building, hijacked and abandoned buildings, we realized we had about 500 of them that we've discovered thus far. We realized as a city of Johannesburg, the budget we have is limited. Now we sold this to the developers out there, and we are so excited to see the response that we've been getting from the developers. Not only just the developers, but even the funders that are willing to fund this particular project. Because what we have done, we have said that we are not selling these properties to you, but we are giving you these properties on a long-term lease. That then says to the developers, we are not now spending money on buying, but we're spending money on development. So that was what even made them to get excited even more.
How do we prevent this from becoming another Maboneng? Now, I understand Maboneng is not a total failure, but there are significant portions under auction. Didn't work out as planned in some instances. Can we prevent this here?
Definitely we can. You know, I think with the appetite that we have seen with the properties that we have released, the collaboration between government and private sector must be solid, because we are now as well in council trying to put through what is called a Special Ratings Act or bylaw that will assist us in ensuring that developers or business communities and residents in the city are able to manage particular presence within the city of their areas, because that will, in that way, you continuously have economic activity, you have people coming in the inner city. But once you do not manage your space, then such things start to happen, because now criminal elements come in, urban decay start to come in. But once you start working with the sectors that are active in the inner city or in towns, then that's when you start to manage this particular process.
Let me ask you while you're on that point. So you hand over these buildings to these developers and investors.
Yes.
But some of them have occupants in there already. Now, how do you tackle that? Because there's legalities involved in this.
Yes. In fact, what I was saying even earlier was that this is almost coming to an end of a process that we started a long time ago. So before we even get to release these properties through a tender process, what we do through our group forensic investigation services that we have in the city that investigates any maladministration or any illegalities in the city, we then do what is called profiling of the people in those particular buildings that we find. And then as a city, we take the responsibility to house them in alternative accommodation. But what we have discovered now, because of how the developers are so excited with this particular project, are then saying that I have a building, in certain instances, I'm willing to house these people that are legitimate, that are proper beneficiaries for this particular project in their own buildings, or they are even happy to provide land to say then we can give you this land, you can use it for putting structures for alternative accommodation while we're still renovating.
Is there a sizable amount of people that are being taken care of here?
There is a sizable amount, but then it depends from one building to another, because as you know, what we have found in these buildings, some of them you find that what the problem that we've been facing in the city, undocumented foreigners, we find there are South Africans as well there, but it's just a variety of people that are staying in those buildings. But what is exciting that we are finding is that even the majority of people in those buildings are saying that we are willing to pay. But now, because the problem, these buildings were abandoned, they were hijacked. So even if they pay, they just pay for other people for the hijackers to take the money and pay over to the city. So this is what we are finding now going forward, that these people that are in the properties are willing to even pay. So we're getting the right people that are willing to use these promises.
So it doesn't throw a span in the works. I mean, Herman Mashaba, the mayor, says he'd like to see cranes moving around there in 6 months' time, but of course you have this unfortunate problem.
Yeah.
Does that throw in the span in the works here?
Not necessarily, because as I said earlier, that this project started quite some time ago.
Yep.
So what you're seeing now, it's almost towards the end of the project. So all of those issues have been taken care of. For instance, like my department, development planning as well, deals with approval of building plans, rezoning of these particular areas. So all these aspects have been taken care of, so that when we award these bids, these tenders to the winning bidders, we're able to start with the proper plans of building without much delay. So we're looking at about a period of about 6 months where we hopefully to see various cranes, because today we've awarded about 26 of these buildings thus far. So we're looking at a massive project to start within the inner city. But one thing that I would also like to get is that not only our properties that we have released, we have seen an interest from developers who have their own properties, are saying that are willing to come in to develop our properties as well.
Yes, well, MMC, thanks very much indeed for breaking it down for us. That was the MMC for Development Planning, Ruben Masango.